I know y'all miss me, but let me go ahead and say it in the best way I know how.
I'm back, baby.
And I got something that's on my mind, so let's talk about it. Immigration. Oh, that seems to be the talking point of the year. Immigration. Why hasn't it been a key talking point over the last 3 to 4 years? Because there wasn't a presidential election going on. Both sides are claiming that the other side is doing it for political reasons, and hell, they both are. We have the current administration, the Biden administration, that they started this mess, y'all. This is their mess. You don't believe? Check this out.
But the fact is that, look, we should not be locking people up. We should be making sure we change the circumstance, as we did, why they would leave in the first place. And those who come seeking asylum, we should immediately have the capacity to absorb them, keep them safe until they can be heard.
Now, with that, there have been a lot of things said. That Trump is controlling this, that Trump is using this as a political means to get himself back into the presidency, which very well might be true. Hell, it probably is true, because border security and immigration is the hot button topic right now. It is.
This, as a massive increase in migrant crossings along the southern border, overwhelms resources in communities across the country.
That Starr County is seeing a surge of migrants across the border illegally. This fiscal year alone, 245,000 people illegally crossed through the region, according to government data. In a statement, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas said, quote, "There is presently an acute and immediate need to construct physical barriers and roads in the vicinity of the border of the United States."
No one can deny it. It's been a problem for a long time. My only question is, why is it just now concerning the Biden administration? Now, there are clips where current President, Mr. Joe Biden, has said that this has been an issue for far too long.
Let's end our exhausting war over immigration. For more than 30 years, politicians have talked about immigration reform, and we've done nothing about it. It's time to fix it.
No shit, Sherlock.
We know this has been an issue. I live here in Texas. We can tell you that it has been an issue since the time your behind stepped in office. Hell, from even the time that Barack Obama was in office. It's been an issue, but only growing larger. The problem is that the Democrat Party, the leftists, the liberals, the progressives, they are not willing to make the hard choices that are necessary to secure our borders. That's the number one problem. We have laws in place. It's just that they are not being enforced. And I mean that on a federal level. The federales, our federal government, is refusing to enforce our immigration laws. You don't believe? Check this out.
Because the important thing that we know is we can pass law, we can do oversight, but if the executive branch doesn't carry out the law, then none of this works. Day one of the Biden administration, they announced they were going to do a 100-day moratorium. That's why the state of Texas jumped in and challenged that, and federal court said you can't just ignore a court order. Unfortunately, what we're already seeing through many of the numbers are they are actually ignoring the court order. They're really not deporting criminal aliens here in the country. They're really not deporting people that a federal court has told them that they have a notice to be able to leave the country. They're not following through on that final order of removal.
Check this out from Reuters. The most sweeping effort made by Texas to address illegal migration is a new law known as SB 4, Senate Bill 4, that Abbott signed in December. making it a state crime to illegally enter or re-enter Texas from a foreign country.
Well, duh.
That sounds quite logical. That makes sense. That's what any reasonable nation has to protect itself, to govern itself, to make itself sovereign. The first thing you do is borders. One of the first things that homesteaders did back in the day was create a fence showing you what's theirs. But now somehow it's wrong. I will continue reading. A federal judge on February 29th blocked the law from taking effect, agreeing with the Biden administration and civil rights groups that SB 4 would interfere with the federal government's enforcement of U.S. immigration laws. Please tell me what U.S. immigration law allows you to come here undocumented, unchecked, and just walk the fuck into America, no questions asked.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Please, show me that law. Because you did notice in that the first thing it says is it agreed with the Biden administration. Not the law, but the Biden administration and civil rights groups. Because, oh, we can't have that. Let me tell you and break it down as I like to do in logical terms. That's a state version of saying, so if someone decided to come into your house and move in, you couldn't do shit about it.
The hell I can!
If someone decided to camp out in your front yard and make that their new home, by their terms, you can't do shit. A lot of these laws, they make complicated, but they really break down simple in principle. If you sneak your ass over here, you get kicked out. If you sneak your ass into somebody's house, you get kicked out. And in Texas, you more than likely get shot.
We wish a motherfucker would be in our shit.
So why this big push for illegal immigration now? Why this big push for let them all in? Because see, the Biden administration has been talking out of both sides of their mouths here. You see, to get into office, do y'all remember when Biden was talking about let them all in? Check it out.
I would, in fact, make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
And then, when he saw that it was a problem, he made Kamala Harris the border czar, which that was a doomed position from the get-go. And then she went and said this.
I want to be clear to folks in this region who are thinking about making that dangerous trek to the United States-Mexico border. Do not come. Do not come. Okay.
And then he has, when I say he, I mean Biden, has cities in this nation known as sanctuary cities that illegal immigrants can go to without threat of being deported and all that kind of stuff, right? That's what he supports. He supports these sanctuary cities because he won't let ICE go in there and do their job. Which is it, man? Which is it? Love him or hate him, disagree with him or not, Trump's policy on immigration and border security has been the same since the man first came down that escalator in 2016. So you would think that it should have been a top issue when he left office. That should have been continued on. But no, they were so overtaken with the Trump derangement syndrome that they went and reversed virtually every immigration policy that he had when he was in office.
On day one of my presidency, I kept my commitment and sent a comprehensive immigration bill to the United States Congress. If you believe in a pathway to citizenship, pass it. There's over 11 million undocumented folks, the vast majority of here overstaying visas. Pass it.
How much sense does that make?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. God have mercy on your soul.
So now Now that they've caused this mess, now that they set this shit on fire, they now want credit for trying to save it.
We're learning in this developing story this morning that the Biden administration's waiving dozens of federal laws to build a border wall in South Texas. It's the first time the administration's used this type of executive power.
The White House waiving 26 federal laws that will allow for border wall construction in South Texas. That Starr County is seeing a surge of migrants across the border illegally. In a statement, Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas said, quote, there is presently an acute and immediate need to construct physical barriers and roads in the vicinity of the border of the United States.
That ain't the way it works, but here it is. Last week, both President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump, they both visited the border on the same day, 2 separate locations. And as I said earlier, both parties are claiming that the other party is doing it for political issues, for political gains. And again, I can see that. I can even agree that. My problem is the border issue has been the same since he took office and only gotten worse since then. Why is it that it's just now, in the election year, he decides to make his second trip down here? Coincidence?
Coincidence? I think not.
You got to understand, this is the same administration that accused ICE of whipping immigrants with an out-of-context picture. Even when the picture was put in context and people that witnessed it actually said what it looks like and what was reported was falsified and did not really happen, they still ran with the narrative. You see, they know that immigration now is an issue, and they know that most people want our border secure. Check out this clip from NBC.
Tonight, growing backlash to the newly revealed bill designed to beef up border security. House Republicans calling it dead on arrival.
I just don't believe that the Senate bill meets the criteria that's necessary to solve the problem.
The new legislation, negotiated by a small group of bipartisan senators.
Now, when he said that, he's dead on right. And you might be thinking, man, what happened? I thought that this was the whole goal. We have Republican, we have Democrat coming together to make a bill, to get something done for the greater good of our nation together. And you might be asking yourself, well, what happened? Why didn't this go through? What could be the holdup? Isn't this the goal for Democrat and Republican to come together to work for something for the greater good of our nation? Is that not the point? I dove deeper into it since, mainstream media won't do their thing. And what I found out was that this bill is a $118 billion package. Now, when I originally saw that number, I was taken aback, because understand, $118 billion to secure our borders, but they voted down Trump's $20 billion border wall.
It just don't add up.
Something about that doesn't add up, because now if they're so concerned about borders, about border security, then why didn't they do what Trump wanted to do years ago and build a better wall? $20 billion. But now y'all want to approve $118 billion? Well, if I know my politicians, and government, some shit just don't smell right. So what could it possibly be? What's going on?
Provide $60 billion to help support Ukraine and $14.1 billion for Israel. But the battle is over $20 billion worth of reforms to the nation's migration system.
Yeah.
I am shocked. Well, not that shocked.
$60 billion to Ukraine, $14 billion to Israel, only $20 billion to us. And that still leaves a whole bunch of money unaccounted for. But let's say this again. They want to only spend $20 billion to support our borders, which is the original cost of the wall in the first place. You see the hypocrisy there? But then send $60 billion to another nation to help defend their borders.
Huh?
Say that again. This administration wants to spend more on another country's protection and their borders and defending themselves than he wants to spend on his own nation.
Get the fuck out of here.
What more can be said? Oh, and of course, they'll try to spin up some other things. But before I go into that, Let's finish watching this little news clip, shall we?
The bill expands the number of detention facilities, allows for an emergency declaration when more than 5,000 migrants cross on a given day, and raises the standards for migrants to qualify for asylum. GOP negotiator James Lankford urging Republicans to pass it.
When we had a Republican House, Republican Senate, and President Trump as president, we weren't able to pass border security pieces.
President Biden supportive too.
We don't have enough agents. We need help. Why won't they give me the help?
But Republican critics arguing the bill makes the crisis worse, including by still allowing migrants to be released into the U.S. pending asylum hearings.
They've been releasing people into the country without detaining them. Now, this bill would say that's okay.
But Democrats insist Republicans are taking their marching orders from former President Trump. Our new NBC News poll shows 57% of voters believe Mr. Trump would handle border security best. Just 22% pick Mr. Biden.
Well, duh.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
As offensive as it was the way he put it, his whole thing, he started off when he came down that escalator talking about securing our borders.
The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. Thank you. It's true. And these are the best and the finest. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting. And it only makes common sense. It only makes common sense. They're sending us not the right people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East. But we don't know, because we have no protection and we have no competence. We don't know what's happening. And it's got to stop. And it's got to stop fast.
Now, how is it that a man way the fuck up in New York could see that and Joe Biden couldn't? And he was at that time vice president. I guess to address that issue or to get an answer with that, all we have to do is go back and listen to former Defense Secretary Robert Gates and what he said about then Vice President Joe Biden. And I quote, "I think he has been wrong on nearly every major foreign policy and national security issue over the past 4 decades. And that's who we have helming up a bill to secure our borders. A man who has been wrong on every major foreign policy and national security issue over the past 4 decades. This man, the current president, has a history of piss poor management on international issues and national security. And that's who y'all elected and caped up for. And now we're supposed to listen to him when he says now he wants to secure it?
Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
Hell, the fact that he says it now lets me know he's 3 years too late. It's what it is. You did this, Slick. You did this. And then to say that we need more border agents? No shit, Joe. But what did you do? You spent money on hiring new IRS agents. Hard for me to believe that you want to secure our borders and you really want to support the Border Patrol when that's not where you're spending the money. Even now, even with this bipartisan bill, the bulk of the money is going to God knows where, and 60 million of it we know for sure is going to Ukraine. Come on, man. You can't be taken seriously. Fuck out of here with all that.
Get the fuck out of here.
That's just what it is. And if you ask some Border Patrol agents, as you'll see when you investigate this story for yourselves, you may even see that some agents are in support of this. You have some Border Patrol heads, and they've highlighted some of them, saying, yes, it's great, we need this.
National Border Patrol Council is backing this border bill. In a statement to Fox, Brandon Judd, the president of the Border Patrol Union, says the Border Act will codify it into law. authorities that Border Patrol agents never had in the past. This will allow us to remove single adults expeditiously and without a lengthy judicial review. While not perfect, the Border Act of 2024 is a step in the right direction and is far better than the status quo.
But I will tell you what was told to me a very long time ago. In a very short and succinct fashion, I can sum this up. If you are drowning, you will reach up and grab any hand that's extended itself to help, even if that hand belongs to the devil. Right now, they're drowning. They know they're overwhelmed. They're going to take any help in any form that it comes, because you're giving someone in desperate need something that they want and have been asking for and they actually need, and you expect them to have a measured response to it? No. You tell them, I'm going to give you help, they'll kiss your feet. And that's what's going on with Border Patrol right now. They don't see the grander picture. And if I was in their shoes, I would probably feel the exact same way. So that's where we are in that whole Border Patrol mess. Look, Biden is full of shit. He just ain't worth a damn in this area. Well, period, actually. But that's the way it is. Don't let people on the mainstream media con you into thinking that, oh, Trump's pulling the strings for political reasons, which in part he is, to be honest. But two things can be true. He's going to use this as a win to possibly get back into the presidency, but at the same time, he's dead on right. Don't sign a bill that's going to give more money to other countries than it will to us. The man is still talking about make America great again, because everyone else wants to make it a communist, socialist world again. Nah, it ain't gonna work here, partner. I want to take the time now to say thank you to all those people that have stayed subscribed to me. I apologize for being gone so long. Life got in the way, shit happens. But I'm back now, regular basis. Expect videos daily, at least one. I got a lot of shit to catch y'all up on. I have been staying up to date on current events, and I have a lot of things to say about a lot of things. Y'all know how I get down. This is your man, Big Brother Tucker. Thank you. Comment, like, subscribe. You know how we get down. It's Free Mind Thinkers. So stand up, stand out, think differently. I'll holler.